Well, I'm here at the park. I brought Gesture so he can run. Baby Bear Paw is no longer with us. I load up some videos so you can see her the way she was. Healthy, running. She loved to come to the park and run. I would mention, let's go to the park, and she would go crazy and get the other one going too. They love coming here. And the reason we lost her was because for the past 4 years she was having problems pooping. She was straining and straining and straining. We took it to several vets. I mean, we spent so much money on vets. They couldn't figure out what was wrong. Finally, one vet discovered, they did x-rays and they did scans, I think it's called. And she discovered that she had an inflammation in her colon, I guess. She would put her finger up the butt and says it was tight and there was an inflammation on one side of it. Colitis, something is called. I don't know exactly. My wife knows. Anyways, we started giving her medication to bring down the inflammation, medication for in case of an infection, a little bit of painkillers, and she started acting a lot better, pooping a lot better. She was always having a little bit of blood in her poop, kind of stringy. And I said, well, if something is leaking blood, it's going to have an infection because it's in the poop, and that's never going to clean up. So we kept taking her to vets. And then she was doing good. I mean, she was running around and being happy, howling like a wolf, getting the other one. Every time she wanted to come inside, she started howling. And I wish I would have videoed. She would do it so often that it never occurred to me to video her. I never thought that I would lose her so quickly, one day to the next. So last Thursday, my wife went to get her out of the kennel for the usual routine to go outside and stretch out and do pee and poo and whatever. And she pooped in the bed, and she also vomited. So immediately my wife got her and took her to the vet. And I thought it was just a routine thing, like always happens, that you take her and they take care of it and then bring it back. Well, an hour later she calls me all alarmed, and she says that they told her that she was critical. And I said, critical? What do you mean critical? She was fine. She goes, no. She's something really wrong with her. So, she asked me to come running. She didn't want to be alone. So we went. I ran over there, and they had put a IV on her and put her in a cage, and not a cage, a little holding block with a glass door. So we went to see her, and immediately when she saw me, because she's very attached to me, she saw me, she raised her head, and I went to her and I pet her, And I said, what's wrong, baby? You know, and she just looked at me. Um, she was so smart that when she was feeling ill, she would go to the door and look at me or look at her, my wife, and say, it's like saying, take me to the doctor. I don't feel good. So we had a consultation with the vet. They said we're gonna put her under observation, and they wanted to give her all kinds of medicines. And I said, okay. It was very, very expensive for a 2-day stay. It was from $4,000 to $6,000, maybe $8,000. And I said, well, what the hell are you giving the dog that's gonna take so, it's gonna cost so much money? Anyways, I said, okay, let's leave her here. Let's pick her up tomorrow. And we had to go to LA to take care of business on a property real quick, and then on the way back in heavy traffic, we get a call from the vet saying that she took some liquid out of her stomach and it was septic, meaning that she was leaking excrement in her intestines inside. So we rushed back to pick her up, and they told us she's gonna die. And I just couldn't get it in my head. She was so healthy the day before. And I said, well, they said we should put her down. And I said, well, I want her to come home with us and die there with us. If she suffers, then I'll go to the local vet and have her injected with the poison or whatever they give them. And we took her home, and she was under sedation. She was a little groggy, you know, painkillers, and we gave her a little infection pill. We kind of grounded it up, put it in water, injected it in her mouth, and she took it because she was used to stuff like that. And she was sitting next to me, and I was petting her and just touching her and just telling her, you know, daddy's here, you know, and daddy loves you. Because she and me had a special relationship. I mean, she was very attached to me. She would sit next to me and just look at me. She would put her head on the little pillow and she would stare at me for hours. I was watching TV, and she did that every night. She was just in love with me. She would give me those little bitty eyes, very loving eyes, and then kissing my hand. She was a little lady. I mean, she was... Anyways, she passed away. I was holding her and give her little kisses, and then I always would clear her eyes. She had sleep in her eyes, and I would kind of pick them and tell them, oh, I got it, I got this, and oh, look, and I got that. And when I did that, she was kind of laying down, glancing at the distance, just fixed eyes. But when I started doing that to the eyes, she kind of raised her head and looked at me, and she knew it was me because I was the one doing that for her all the time since she was a little puppy. And she gave me her last glance, and then she started having chest pains, and her chest, you can see her chest doing this, and then I will hear a growl in her stomach, and I think it was the excrement just pouring. She ruptured a intestine, and she started spilling inside. Now, when we talked to the vet, I said, can that be solved with an operation? And she says, it's a 50-50 chance that she will make it. There's no guarantee. And I said, how much is the operation? And they said $12,000. And that hit me because $12,000, you know, $12,000. And there's no guarantee. I mean, if they said we can fix her up, patch her up, in a couple of days she'd be home okay, I would say go ahead, and I would put her on any card and pay it in payments. I don't care how much. But when they said there was no 50-50, and then we talked to her other, before that we talked to her other vets, and they told us the same thing. She says that the operation is difficult, and most of the time they don't live through it. It's very rough, very tough. We tried everything. And I didn't want her to die in a kennel with strangers, and I didn't want her to die on the operating table. If she was gonna die, I wanted to die with Daddy. I don't mind telling you. I'm not embarrassed to say that I cried like a kid for 3 days. It's gonna be a week tomorrow and I'm still feeling it. It hit me hard because the mother lasted 15 years and she had a lot of problems. I mean, I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but she had so many problems. She had heart problems. She had water in the heart. She had a collapsed head, and then it came back for some reason. That happened, and she had a cyst in her ovaries. She had a lot of problems, but you could see her getting older, and you could see her getting sicker, and you knew that she wasn't going to be alive, because 15 years, that's the max for that type of dog. It's a Brittany. And so you already see it coming, and you kind of prepare for it, and when it happens, it doesn't hit you this hard. But with Bear Paw, it was one day to the next. It's like being killed in an accident, in a car accident or something. I wasn't expecting that. When she left in the morning, she was a little sick, but she was, she would see you and wag your tail and stuff. And then the next thing, they're telling me that she's critical and she's going to go septic pretty soon. And I understand that happens to people too. And she passed away. So we took it to the vet to get cremated, and we're going to get the ashes in a couple of weeks, I think. And this is the area that she would love to come and run. She would run through the fields. She would disappear in this brush, and you can find her by seeing the flowers wiggle. You say, oh, she's over there. All the flowers are wiggling, and she's running around, having a good time and searching for rabbits, because they love flushing rabbits out. And she was only 12 years old. I thought I would have had 3 more years with her. But she was the sweetest. I've had a lot of dogs. This was the sweetest little girl. So smart, so sharp, so beautiful. And she would love Daddy. You can see it in her eyes. So now I'm trying to get this out of my chest and come here to do some exercise with my wife and bring the boy and let him run. He came to her. He saw us crying, and he knew there was something wrong, because we were hugging each other and just bawling. And yeah, I'm okay. And he came to her and sniffed her, and he kind of backed off a little bit, and he smelled something different about her. She already had passed away. And I'm trying to keep my mind busy, and doing projects in the garage. And I just finished this little project that I was working on, and out of nowhere I just start crying. I mean, it just comes. It hurts a lot because it happened so suddenly. It wasn't. I know she was sickly. We tried everything. My wife took her to all the vets. She took her like to 5-6 vets to see if we can get a different opinion. Everybody was coming up with the same reason. We tested her for cancer. We tested her for, everything. We spent so much money on trying to find out what was wrong with her. And I thought it was cancer. I said, well, if it's cancer, if it's a tumor, go in and get it out. But they said we can't find anything. They couldn't. They looked at the x-rays and they looked at the scans. They couldn't find anything. Then we were going to do a colonoscopy, and the vet said, she says, you know, you're not going to find much about with a colonoscopy, because I thought it would be a polyp, but I said, well, go in and burn it if that's causing, you know, like a pimple that popped and is bleeding. I was hoping for something like that, and they said no, the colonoscopy doesn't have that setup that you can burn anything, and she was saying I don't think it's that, because she had it for 4 years, and we tried to find out if we can fix it, we can solve it somehow, and we kept taking her to different places, and still there was nothing I could do for her. So now she's laying next to me, looking in my eyes, you know, back in her sofa next to me, where she always sits, thinking Daddy is here and Daddy's gonna fix it, and I couldn't do anything for her. So anyways, I'm not gonna be making too many videos now. I need to heal. Something happened 2 months ago. I had a dream with a deceased friend that told me, you have 2 months, but he didn't say nothing else. And I woke up and I told a friend of mine, I said, hey, I'm gonna die in 2 months. I said, what do you mean? And I tell him, yeah, my friend told me. And I told my wife, and maybe what he was trying to tell me was that I have 2 months to be with her, with my little baby. Maybe it's that, or maybe this. It's gonna cause me so much pain that I'm gonna die from it. I don't know. I still gotta take care of the boy, you know, Chester. And he's a very good dog. He's very loving too, and he almost talks. Where's he at? So, okay, I gotta pay attention to the boy, and then he's in fairly good health. He's got a little bit of arthritis, and I'm gonna be on him. Anything weird, he's gonna go to the vet, and I don't care what it costs. We're gonna take care of it, because I don't want to lose him. And I told my wife, you know, when he goes, I'm gonna be shattered, because he's very special, and she was very special. It's such a character of animal that I just couldn't explain it to you. The sharpest, and by the way, she was the runt of the litter. She was the runt of the litter, but she was so smart. While she lacked in body size, she had in brains. So, hey, Papa, how's my macho lindo? Come here, macho. Look at this beautiful thing. Hey, that's my loving boy. How you doing? How you doing, Papa? You give him any water? You give him water? He always runs, and then he comes and checks on me, make sure that I am where I'm supposed to be. So at least he's giving me some happiness. And I'm still gonna remember my little bear paw. She was adorable. Adorable. All right, guys. I know what you think of me. I'm a grown man crying about a dog. But if any of you have a dog, you know how I feel. You know how I feel. My mother would never understand. Or my brother-in-law. They're completely disconnected, detached from loving an animal. But I've always loved dogs since I was a kid. Always. I'm a dog person, and so is she. That's why we get along so fine. We pay more attention to them than to each other. We're always taking care of our kids. They're kids for us. All right, guys. I'm sorry to be a crybaby. I'll see you on the next one. Thank you. Okay, baby. You good girl.